Hello, you're listening to Storytelling Saga, the podcast that shares stories. I'm your host, Allie, and this week I'm discussing the 13th original animated Peanuts special, Be My Valentine, Charlie Brown. It premiered on CBS back on January 28th, 1975. Not even on Valentine's Day, interesting, huh? But this is the third original animated Peanuts special that I'm discussing on this podcast. The first was early on when I discussed first the Halloween special. It's The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, which is the third original animated Peanuts special. And then I discussed in December that same year, back in 2018, I discussed, of course, the iconic, classic, original animated Peanuts special, Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown. So, no, that's not what it's called. Oh my goodness, it's called A Charlie Brown Christmas. My bad. I'm used to the kind of flow of, like, this one too, Be My Valentine, Charlie Brown. It's the Easter Beagle, Charlie Brown. It's weird. Why isn't it called Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown? Anyway, I digress. But this one, of course, written by Charles Schulz. And I've said this before when I've discussed Peanuts specials, that it really is so ubiquitous and timeless, and you see the influence on so many other pieces of animation to this day. The humor, the character interactions, and like this one too, it has the I can't really impersonate the sound well. Let's see. I'm covering my mouth and trying to but actually the iconic sound is made with a trombone, but with the rubber end of a plunger covering it. I didn't know that. I knew it was like a trombone being covered, but I didn't know what it was exactly, and I just looked it up now. That's forever hilarious too to me, that you never see the adults and they just all sound the same, because to kids all adults sound the same, just like that annoying noise, like that sad trombone noise in a way. Too funny, my goodness. But there's just so many cute things in this special. Snoopy is so adorable as always, and so mischievous. He does his little paw pit show, the puppet show, which is just kind of like a little bit. It has nothing to do with the overall story in this special, which is basically Charlie Brown hoping to get a lot of Valentine's Day cards. And of course he ends up getting none, except at the end then Violet offers him a used Valentine. And then Schroeder steps up saying, you should all be ashamed of yourselves. Don't you think he has more integrity than that? And then he's like, wait, don't listen to him. I'll take it. My goodness. Schroeder has a big role too in this special. And of course it also has the timeless theme of unrequited love. Sally with Linus, Lucy with Schroeder, Charlie Brown with the little red-haired girl, who he only mentions at the end. I'd give anything if the little red-haired girl had given me a Valentine. It's maybe she did. And then he's like, if I open the mailbox and nothing's there, I'm gonna just be crushed. And then when he opens it, and then Snoopy gives him a kiss. Which to me is a good metaphor for don't focus on what you don't have. It's he wishes the little redhead girl will give him a Valentine. But then look, you have your little doggy who loves you, so focus on that. And also it's him setting his expectations way too high. He brings in a briefcase to the party, and then Schroeder asks him about it. He says, oh, well, if I get a lot of Valentines, I want a place to put them all. And then he's worried, maybe I should have bought a second briefcase. Maybe one isn't even enough. And of course he gets none, which because he's Charlie Brown. But you would think, someone would just give him a card, even Linus or someone, or Lucy, or even if it were just kind of an anonymous card, because that's the beauty of Valentine's Day cards too. You could have do an anonymous one if you were shy. But it just reminds me of how back in the day, years and years ago in elementary school, how pretty much everyone would give everyone Valentine's Day cards. I remember getting a set of Valentine's Day cards and writing them out for each of my classmates, and you just go around putting them on everyone's desks, and then there'd be chocolates, cupcakes. That was, I was always in it for the treats as a kid, so it's too funny. So poor Charlie Brown set his expectations way too high, ended up getting crushed because no one gave him a Valentine. Even when, I think it's Pigpen, but he's not all dirty though. Maybe it wasn't Pigpen, but whatever. One of the kids going around handing out little candies, the Valentine's Day heart candies. And then Charlie Brown picks up his, and it says, forget it, kid. God, that's just so funny, though. Poor Charlie Brown. Again, the classic, even in the Halloween special, I got a rock, over and over, just adding insult to injury, literally. The universe is against him, as it feels. So poor Charlie Brown. And then also we got Linus, who I just have to say, though, on a side note, I'm not really a fan of his voice in this special. That's the thing, of course, with kids being cast over the years, that when they go through puberty, they'd have to get someone else cast as the role. So I'm just not crazy about his voice in this special. But, his story is cute, where he just has a crush on Miss Othmar, Or so he says he doesn't. Like when Violet says, "Oh, I didn't know you had feelings for her." He's like, "Oh, no, I don't. I just worship the ground she walks on," or something like that, he says. And then when she asks, "Well, what can I get a male teacher?" He says, "How about a heart-shaped shaving cream?" Like can of shaving cream. Kid logic. Then he gets the box of chocolates, so we just hear Miss Othmar throughout these special wah, 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 wah. She said that would be delightful. And Schroeder just running the party when he's just giving out all the Valentine's Day cards. So then Linus with the big box of chocolates, and then Sally thinks it's for her. And she gives him a little card, a little handmade card, which is very adorable. And he just says, "Oh, thanks." Because it's just that classic, he's, put off by the fact that she's so enamored with him. As far as I can recall, there's never any reciprocity there. I don't think there's ever been, from what I've seen of Peanuts anyway. But, so it's just like cute, her little crush on him, and then she thinks the candy's for her, and then he goes to give it to Miss Othmar, and she just leaves. Like, she just leaves her class. Like, why? Like, just, you're leaving these children? That's not okay. And she just goes off with her boyfriend, so these kids are just unattended. That's not cool, lady. Good God. I'm sorry, I just kind of say that because I know it's just animation, it's just like a sweet little animated story and whatever, suspension of disbelief, but come on, dude, like, just come on. That's not okay. That's, wow, she should be fired. But then he's crushing, he's throwing his candies one by one off like that little bridge, just like, as if they're going into the water. But then we see Snoopy and Woodstock eating them, which you shouldn't give a dog chocolate, which I'm sure you know. But again, suspension of disbelief, because Snoopy is more than a dog. He has like anthropomorphic qualities, obviously. But like, he does that whole puppet show. And then there's a little thing with him and Woodstock where he just throws the little Valentine he made Woodstock in like his beak. And then Woodstock like cuts a little heart, and then he's like, phew, like his little, like as he's running up, he's like getting winded. So he takes a few moments when he pauses and smiles at the audience. And then when he just throws the Valentine at Snoopy's face, like, oh my goodness, at his nose. Snoopy's so cute, that little beagle, my goodness. And also there's a whole bit, which I did not remember, so I'm sure it was probably cut from the broadcast version just for the sake of condensing it to fit in more ads, of course. But there was a bit when Sally gets her little candy heart, and she reads this whole sonnet. How do I love thee, let me count the ways, like that whole sonnet, which has always been wrongly attributed to Shakespeare. And I myself thought it was always written by Shakespeare, like, how do I love thee, let me count the ways, that whole sonnet. But in fact, the author is Elizabeth Barrett Browning. And Linus mentions her toward the end when he's drawing the chocolates. Like, this one's for romance, this one is for love, this one is for Elizabeth Barrett Browning, that author. So he wasn't a fan of her then. He feels like let down. So poor Linus is just so down in the end. But, it's like that typical thing with you're a kid, you don't realize how inappropriate it is to give a gift to your teacher, like, innocent crushes and everything, but still, it's just like, goodness. And then this teacher just leaving the kids, I can't get over that, I'm sorry. Like, you just see the car and they just drive away. That is messed up. That is really messed up. Goodness gracious. But then also there's the whole little puppet show, as I mentioned, with Snoopy, and then Charlie Brown narrating it, the lovers embrace, and they come across bandits, and then the whole thing, it's like, have you seen one of these shows before? No, I can't say I have. Oh, then I should warn you about this next scene. And then she gets water dumped on her, Lucy, and then dirt, and then, like, goodness, which she kind of deserves that. But she's not too bad in this one, except actually the whole thing with that whole scene with Schroeder, who doesn't say a word during that entire scene. He's just playing his piano, like, he just wants to be left alone playing his piano. But then she goes on and on, don't you, like, you don't want to be haunted by the lost love? Don't you know how terrible that would be? You can't sleep, you can't eat. And she destroys his piano. Not cool, Lucy, not cool at all. I didn't care for that at all either. Goodness. But, calm down, kids, But then it is cute at the end when Charlie Brown is happy he got his used Valentine, even though, whatever. He's just happy with it. He'll take what he can get. And he says, oh, I really let Schroeder down, but at least they cared a little bit about me to give me a used Valentine. Oh, it's so funny because, like, Violet had erased her name and put his name in it. Like, I mean, whatever. You could have just literally just gotten a piece of paper, put a heart, say, to Charlie Brown, love everyone, whatever, but instead a used Valentine. That just makes it funnier, Also, there's a whole bit where Sally's trying to make a Valentine for Linus, and she's like, I can't cut anything, I can't fold anything. Like, the poor kid. And Charlie Brown tries to help her out. And he says, oh, here, Sally, all you have to do is just cut out a heart like this. And then she cuts out a shamrock first, which seems to be more difficult, honestly, because it's more shapes, you know? But that's pretty impressive. And then, like, she cuts a diamond. And then Snoopy just comes over, makes this whole, like, magical thing that somehow can play music. Like, incredible. Just, like, this paper thing. And then Charlie Brown makes one and it falls apart. But it looks very pretty for a second before it all fell apart. His little hearts and moons and stars. And then Snoopy just cuts out the heart, and that's when he just throws it at Woodstock. Little Snoopy and Woodstock are just so adorable. Just taking a moment to appreciate their friendship. So, again, like, Peanuts is just so timeless. It's so amazing. You just love the characters and the heart to it, the humor too, like these universal themes again of unrequited love, of like Charlie Brown having high expectations and then like being let down. But then he's like, though he's always kind of feeling bad about himself then, like when he just doesn't get a Valentine, he keeps looking in the mailbox with his little tongue sticking out, he's looking in the mailbox. It's like one of those things where you open up the fridge, then like a second later close, then open it again, thinking you're going to find something magically in the fridge that you didn't just a second ago, like that too. So at least he keeps the hope alive. Because then he's going on and on at the end. It's like, oh, maybe next year I'll need 3 suitcases instead of 2. Maybe next year. And then Linus interrupts him saying, Happy Valentine's Day, Charlie Brown. So it is really cute, even though poor Linus is down at the end and Charlie Brown is happy at the end, which is good. It's like a small victory for him. Because that's all you want at Valentine's Day, to want to show people you care about them. So, you know, too bad he didn't, like, I guess he gave Valentine's to everyone, but then didn't get one for himself. But, you know, it all worked out. He was happy in the end, so that's all that matters. So it's just so adorable. How can you not love Peanuts? How can you not just relate to even one of the characters, or just, again, this old soul mentality to it? And Snoopy is so adorable, like, you know, just the kid logic to it too. Like, gosh, Peanuts is incredible, obviously. At some point I would love to discuss the Peanuts movie, because that's really great too, so I'll talk about that at some point. I might discuss the Easter Beagle, Charlie Brown. I haven't seen that in years and years, the Easter special. So I remember that one with like Peppermint Patty and Marcy. They're in that briefly too in this one, but like they just, like, sometimes I'm surprised Peppermint Patty didn't give Charlie Brown a Valentine, but just for the sake of the plot that he just gets nothing. But, you know, so it's just very cute. Snoopy, ever the mischievous one too, he's so adorable. And then it's cute too when after Sally gives that whole, like, reads that entire sonnet on her candy heart, then Snoopy's behind, like, he sneaks into the school, like in the classroom, he like acts out all that stuff, like laugh and cry and all that, and he just gives her a little kiss on the hand, which is cute because you don't really think much of Sally and Snoopy, you know, it's always obviously Charlie Brown and Snoopy, and then like Snoopy and Woodstock, those are like Snoopy's main 2 interactions, and then also maybe a little bit Snoopy and Lucy too, like even in the first one when he like licks her face, like, oh, I've been kissed by a dog, I have dog germs, you know, in the Charlie Brown Christmas special. So, you know, that's a thing too, like they sometimes have some kind of bonds, Sally and Snoopy, because obviously like you think of him more so as Charlie Brown's dog, Charlie Brown's best friend, you know, so with little Snoopy, he's just so cute, that little mischievous beagle, too adorable. So it's just very cute special. Love Charlie Brown, forever timeless, just so good. And happy Valentine's Day. And with that is going to conclude this week's episode of Storytelling Saga. Be sure to visit storytellingsaga.com, and as always, feel free to send me any questions, comments, or writing prompts by sending me an email at storytellingsaga@gmail.com. Next episode, we don't talk about Bruno, which of course means I will be talking about Encanto. Until then, thank you for listening, and remember, write what you love.